Brisbane, Australia. This is episode 73 of The Normal Blokes, a podcast dedicated to improving the competitive 40k experience. I'm Dineeth, and today we're joined by the one and only Jordan. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, how are we?
Alright, and I'm excited, Jordan, because we're talking about Deathwatch today.
The Deathwatch.
It's going to be fucking sick. So, yeah, me and Jordan through 8th had a little foray into Deathwatch. We had a lot of fun, souped it up and tried to play it mono. But yeah, this weekend we got the Codex Supplement for Deathwatch, and I'm loving it, man. We've been reading through it over the last few days, and I think I've got like 200 messages from Jordan, and he's got 200 from myself.
And, we have been messaging each other non-stop because when the book came out, it was like, with all this new Dominus stuff, we knew there was going to be some cool combos, which we will talk about today.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the new strats and everything. But the book did not disappoint, in my opinion. I think it's got some really cool stuff in it.
Yeah, and when you look at some of the new toys that Marine's got, it's really nice to see the Deathwatch, like, as a fringe, non-codex compliant chapter. Classically, you know, we got all the toys as well, so it's really nice. And yeah, we'll go into it, man. But before we discuss, I guess the nuance of the army, overall, you think Deathwatch can compete?
I actually think they can. They're going to compete on a different level. They're going to do the mission well, which we will discuss more into, because they have some very unique units, some very unique relics. And I think one thing that's still sticking with Deathwatch in this book that we'll explain is their survivability. They're probably one of the best Marine chapters for survivability. And this book just made them even better. They're just more resilient. They can take a hit. So yeah, and there'll be more stuff we'll talk about in the book, which will explain all that.
Yeah, we were talking before we started recording, and one of the things I'm looking at with Deathwatch is not trying to be a better version of a Marine chapter. Like, I'm not trying to be a better version of Iron Hands or White Scars or whatever, because Deathwatch do their own thing really well, and I'm really leaning into the things that they're good at, which is exactly like you said, Jordan, like survivability, versatile units, protecting your damage dealers, things like that. But I guess I'll let you lead into it now. Deathwatch got a cool chapter tactic in the Marine Codex, Xenos Hunters. What was that?
Yep. So the Xenos Hunters now, so with Tactical Doctrine, for normal generic Marines, you go turn 1, you got heavy support. So you've got your heavy doctrine.
Before we talk about mission tactics, before mission tactics, the actual chapter tactic.
Yes, the chapter tactic. So chapter tactic for Deathwatch, which came in the Marine Codex. So chapter tactic is you pick a battlefield role, so it could be a troop choice, elites, HQ, whatever you want it to be. For the entirety of that game, you reroll 1s to wound against those units.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think there was a second segment to that too.
Yeah, so in combat, you reroll 1s to hit against Xenos, which is really nice. There's a nice little bonus for it.
So that's an addition, because they never had that in the previous books.
Yeah, and one cool thing now is you pick the battlefield role. You don't pick a particular tactic, because before you couldn't pick against a flyer battlefield role, for example. So there is some really cool additions to be able to pick that. But now, if you run a mono Deathwatch army, aside from Assassins and Inquisitors and things like that, you get a sick, cool rule called Mission Tactics that you were just talking about, Jordan. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes.
I love it.
So generic Marines can take, turn 1 you get Devastator Doctrine, and then turn 2 you Tactical Doctrine, turn 3 you can choose to go to Tactical, stay in Tactical, or go to Assault, and then your Assault Doctrine afterwards. Mm-hmm. Deathwatch got really cool in the aspect that we can pick what turn. So we can pick turn 1, we can be an Assault Doctrine, so we can be +1 to melee and pistol weapons, +1 to their AP. You can get, and then you can go Devastator Doctrine in turn 2 if you feel like it. You can go Tactical Doctrine turn 3. You can go Tactical Doctrine turn 5. But you're only allowed to do Tactical Doctrine twice, Devastator once, and Assault Doctrine 3 times. So you get to pick. So it's cool in the way that you can pick your turns and when you want your doctrines to be active. So you're kind of pushing the the lever and telling your opponent what you want to do instead of letting the doctrines declare what you want to do. Which is really cool. So it can kind of make you pick your time to attack.
Yeah. So I know on the
yeah.
Necron episode we talked about the command protocols, and the guys on the episode were saying it's sometimes not about the one that you want, it's about the ones that you don't want, and this is so similar. Like maybe you have an army that wants to punch on and fight, or maybe you have an army that wants to shoot really well. It's not about throwing that up first. It's about putting the useless ones on the turns that you don't need. Like let's say you don't need assault doctrine or you don't need tactical doctrine. Throw them on turn one where you're not doing anything if you're not doing anything, and then save your big hitting doctrines for the turn you need it. I love it. I think it's so strong.
Yep, I agree, man. I think one thing that this army does really well is it does tactical doctrine really well because you have a lot of access to bolters. It's bolter galore. So, picking that in the turns that you want is so important because it could be turn 3 could be the turn that you need it, and turn 4, not turn 2 and 3.
Exactly.
Which is really important. So, this is going to be cool. It's going to be something different. Some people might not like it, but I think it's actually really neat for an army like this.
Yeah, I think it takes a skill cap to the next level. I think it gives you a lot more room to show your skill and play, and pick the timing of your attack. So I love it, man. I'm so excited. I could talk about this for like 4 hours.
Yes,
but we need to keep moving. So Deathwatch classically operating kill teams. So in 8th edition they had essentially 2 kill teams. They had your Proteus kill team, which is your firstborn kill team, and your Fortis kill team, which is your intercessor kill team. But now we've got 2 more. So we'll just cover off on the Proteus team. So it's pretty much you take 5 Deathwatch veterans, and you can take Bikers, Terminators, Vanguard vets. So this is your classic kill team. Jordan, you're a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of them too. And they got a nice little buff with getting extra wounds from the Marine book. So we got all the normal vets going 2 wounds. The Termies, Bikers go an extra wound as well. So and I know you're liking these guys more and more, especially with the Storm Shield changes. Hey.
Yeah, so as we were discussing earlier, there's the new Produce kill teams are good. So all vets went to 2 wounds now, Terminators went to 3, Bikes went to 3. So you've basically got twice as many wounds now in the unit than we used to have. Storm Shield's going down to a 4 up, 4++ does suck a bit, but pushing the generic save of the unit up to a 2 up is huge because any neg 1 is still going to push you back down to a 3, which is what we're seeing a lot of now, neg 1 and neg 2. So it's really good to have that. We've lost Transhuman, which does suck. But these units are significantly cheaper, in my opinion, to the other units too, and they can really dish out a shit ton of shots. So I've actually, in a new list I've put together for this Deathwatch, I've put 2 Proteus teams in it just because of the Storm Bolters. But we'll talk more about that later because they are. I still think they're a very viable unit, and they've actually Deathwatch got access to some really cool strats as well, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, and it's the cool thing, right, is back in 8th edition it was about 230 or something points, or maybe up to 250 for a unit of 10 that had about 14 or 15 wounds. Yep. Now it's still sub 300, like it's about 280, 290, but then you're pushing your wounds to like 25 wounds. Like it's really, really oppressive, like the amount of points per wound you can actually get efficiency on in this unit, as well as having a 4-up invo. I love it. I think obviously as we get to it, the obvious power is the Indomitor teams. Like you can't really argue with 30 wounds at T5, but there is still so much play with this unit because they have a mobile invo. They've got 2-up armor on them. It's actually quite nice. They did lose a couple of things. In 8th edition, if you had a Vanguard vet, you could fall back and shoot. If you had a Biker, you could fall back and charge. Now, they've moved to stratagems, which we'll talk about later, but lost a little bit. But it's still not bad. It's still a really versatile kill team. The next one, mate, the Fortis kill team, which is your intercessor one. I'm in love, and we'll talk about some combos later. So it's pretty much 5 intercessors, either your assault, stalker, or regular bolt rifles. And you can choose to add assault intercessors, outriders, or hellblasters. Now, I am so pumped that they've got outriders in this because that does 2 things. The first thing is it makes your outriders a 5-man unit, which you can't do yet. The second thing is it makes your outriders objective secured and if they split off, they get the biker keyword, but they don't lose the infantry keyword, which is pretty monumental. And some people are expecting an FAQ, but there's actually a paragraph in the Deathwatch Codex that says bikers and kill teams operate different to normal bikers, so maybe they won't change it. So, what are your thoughts on the Fortis teams, man? Because I love them.
I actually think this is going to probably be one of the best units in this codex. Not because of its damage output. I think just purely because how painful a 5-man Outrider squad is going to be. That's OBSEC.
Yeah.
It's so cool because you're getting an awesome trade-off here. You're getting 5 crummy little intercessors that no one cares about to go and protect.
They're putting a banner up, aren't they? They're going to be putting a banner up.
Oh, they are holding that backfield. They're just blocking out anything that wants a deep strike.
Yeah.
And then you've got 5 Outriders that can advance 20 inches and they're OBSEC.
Yeah.
And not only can they advance, there's some really cool strats that is going to mix so well with these guys.
Yeah, I'm holding my tongue.
Yeah, which we'll talk about because when we get to these stratagems and the way this army works, it starts to open up some really insane combos.
Yeah, and for those of you guys that have kept up with the Marine releases, you've got ways to bring these Outriders back. You can give them a feel no pain. You can, put an invo on them a number of ways. Specifically with Deathwatch, they've got a relic that has an invo. We can talk about chapter tactics later, but the fact that they are infantry just takes away so many things that the bikers themselves can't do. Like, bikers have to navigate their way around terrain where these guys can fly through a lot of things that are breachable. This unit can move 14 inches and put a fucking banner up. Like, that's insane. They can do an action, You can outflank them to do an action. Like, there's so many cool things that is unlocked by this unit of 5 bikes that you combat squad out. Yeah.
It's 20 T5 wounds.
Yeah.
It's a lot of wounds, guys. It's actually not like it's for its points. It's pretty cool, and I think the fact that GW has made a limit of Outriders being squads of 3, and then Deathwatch went no.
Yeah.
No. We're gonna make it squad of 5.
Call's just wondering why the Deathwatch are ordering 60% more Outrider bikes than all the other chapters.
Yeah.
This is why. But yeah, you can see that we both ignored the Hellblasters and the Assault Intercessors just because. Look, I think White Scars do Assault Intercessors better. It'll be cool, but I don't see them gaining a lot from being in Deathwatch, to be honest. But someone can prove me wrong. I think the immediate power is in these Outriders. I feel.
Correct. I completely agree.
Now, the next one.
Well, if you're going to be,
if you're going
to be splitting off, if you're going to be combat squatting a squad of intercessors, you're not going to be wanting to combat squad 3 bikes and some assault intercessors. You want 5 because you want to be moving that 14 every time. You want to be OBSEC. So. But yeah, we'll move on from that and we'll talk about the next team.
Yeah, so I think the next team is going to be the bully unit of the Codex. It may not be the most points efficient one, but this unit is going to be the one that's hard to move. It's called the Indomina kill team. It's pretty much a Gravis kill team, and there's a couple of cool applications. So you've got 5 heavy intercessors, which haven't got a model and released yet, but 5 heavy intercessors either with their Hellstorm, which is their assault bolter, their heavy bolter, or their regular heavy bolt rifle. But then you can add aggressors, inceptors, and eradicators. So, a couple of cool applications here. First off, this unit is essentially a 10-man custode unit in terms of toughness. And where a regular custode guard is about 50 points, these guys are 28 points for for heavy intercessors, which is we can write to someone about that. But there's so many cool applications for this. The fact that you can put eradicators in it, like 5 eradicators in it, and then or even 4 eradicators and an inceptor in there, and you've got to kill 7 Gravis models to kill an eradicator. Like, that's crazy. That's insane. Yep. Like, because
especially with the combos.
Oh,
especially
man.
With the fact that so you've got a 3 wound base T5 model that can have a 5-up invulnerable and it can be given a 5-up feel no pain. They're going to be so hard to shift. Not only that, you can transhuman them because they're Primaris.
Yeah.
There's and like the Eradicator's got to keep a total of obliteration, or as Wayne would say, obliviation. Um, um, they get to keep total
73
obliteration.
from 73 for Wayne.
We're never missing you, Wayne. We'll never forget. It's really cool. They get to keep that ability still, so they can fire twice at the same target, which is great because they can still shoot at, say, a tank, and the rest of the heavy intercessors can shoot at infantry, or they can shoot something else. So the units are really well tooled. They can deal with multiple threats at the same time, which I think is a really cool ability. Throwing an Inceptor in there as well, for good measure, because yes, we'll talk about a stratagem that is very, very relevant for them.
Yeah.
But we'll move on from them because I think a lot of the rest of this, like relics and powers and strats, are all going to involve these kill teams.
That's going to be the meat of the discussion for sure. Yeah, so the final kill team, which I really like that is there, is a Spectrus kill team. So it's your Phobos kill team. So you start with 5 infiltrators, and you can choose to add incursors, reavers, and eliminators. So cool thing here, you can get big units of eliminators, which is really interesting. I just like the fact that Deathwatch have access to infiltrators. Just to scream, like, I think it's beautiful. Do you see much application in these guys outside of that?
Yes, I do. I do see them being useful. I still, I like the idea of them. I'm not going to be adding them in my army for a few reasons, because, I mean, why add them? Why let someone deep strike outside of 12 when you can let them come within 12 and then all-spec scan them with a stupid amount of shots? But, I mean, they're definitely going to have some play.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is the fact that eliminators can now, they can block out 12, and we've now finally got them for Deathwatch, which is really cool. Yeah. They're gonna, and I think the 5-man eliminator team, which I did have a look at, I thought that was a pretty unique unit. They're gonna have some play for sure. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately,
I think this kill team is going to be the meta pick kill team, right? Like, if you're in a meta with heaps of these melee jumping units like orcs or bloodletters, you're going to have 5 of these, infiltrators. If you're in a meta that you need that direct damage against characters for any reason, sure, you'll take this combat squatted up, or even just keep it as a static unit and then have 5 eliminators going hard that you need to kill 6 models to get to. So I'm interested to see if people can make the Reavers go hard with Marine strats. I know a few of our guys are trying, but it seems a bit trickier. But I just like the fact that we have it, man. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, and I think in the previous edition too, I don't think Reavers had the Phobos keyword.
Oh, okay.
It looks like they do have Phobos now.
Yes.
So Reavers, and there's obviously access to that guerrilla tactics strat, which basically allows you to pick a Phobos unit up and redeploy them. So that's kind of handy.
Yeah.
Which that might definitely have some play with Reavers.
Yeah, man.
But otherwise, I think they're still in a very hard spot, Reavers, just because they're not super deployable. They're not like super aggressive. They don't have that mobility that armies that can get use of that. They're still a 6-inch move. They can take grab shoots, I guess, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, G-Dub's given them access to some really cool stratagems. So the shock grenades and stuff, and they can turn units off objectives, make them no longer objective secured, which is cool.
Yes. Really good segue, Jordan, into stratagems. But really quickly, I want to talk about these kill team specialisms. So it's essentially like we had in the Marine Codex, you could upgrade your Masters of the Chapter, like your Apothecaries and stuff, by between 20 points or whatever, to give them extra abilities. Well, you can actually upgrade your kill teams to give them some extra bonuses. So it essentially gives them a native reroll wound roll of 1 that your battlefield roll, Xeno Hunter's tactic would have given you, but you can pick it for 1 unit. So it's kind of like saying this unit of 5, or let's say 10, a kill team of 10 with 5 Eradicators, they're always going to be rerolling 1s to wound, no matter what my overall Xenos Hunter's battlefield roll is. So there's 1 for all the rolls, I believe, and it's anywhere between 25 and 35 points upgrade. What do you think about these ones, Jordan?
They're good. So basically, with these new rules, you just pay points like you would for like a to make a chief apothecary or whatever it might be. You're doing the same thing for a kill team. So you can go so for example, if you spend, let's say, Let's go 4-all, which is troops. So it's 35 points for a unit, gives them +2 power level. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack against an enemy unit with a troop battlefield roll, it rerolls wound rolls of 1 for that attack. So that includes combat and shooting because it just says attack.
Yeah.
But the other segue point to it is if you selected the troops battlefield roll for your Xenos Hunter chapter tactic, which we discussed earlier, each time a model in that unit makes an attack against an enemy unit with that battlefield roll, you can reroll all the wounds.
Yep, this is the money.
That's the cool part. So,
Yeah.
Having it's a unique ability to have to pick your opponents. It's not like it's the one thing this army has that you can just change. Like in previous editions, you could change. Some missions you could buy the extra relic. Now GW is like, no, you've got to pay for everything up front. This is a really cool ability Deathwatch have. They can just go, who are we playing today? Okay, they got a ton of troops. We're playing against troops.
Yeah.
Let's pick that. Obviously, these you've still got to pay for. These kill team specialism abilities. You've still got to pay for these prior to your game, but it's very, you can almost tool your units perfectly to deal with that exact style of
unit. That's it, and you're not losing anything because you're paying, let's say you pay for Furor, it's 35 points, you put 35 points onto it, so I look at all of these as like a 10% increase in points, but for a 10% increase in points, if you're rerolling ones to wound naturally without picking the mission tactic, that's that 16% of your dice that you're rolling again, so it's quite nice, it's a little boost. But even if you could argue that, this is wasted if you pick that battlefield roll anyway, well, no, it's even better if you pick that battlefield roll. It is so much better because you reroll all the wounds.
Yep, and you don't need any characters nearby, nothing. This unit can stand in the open on its own and just start rerolling wounds.
So if you have a dedicated team that is built for one thing, like let's say the Eradicator unit really wants to hunt vehicles, right? You put I think it's Dominatus, or no, it's whatever the big ones are. Malleus against heavy support and Lords of War. You put that on them so they're always rerolling their ones against heavy support, And on the off chance that you're playing against 7 Lehman Russes, you pick Malleus anyway, and then those Eradicators are going crazy. So I reckon if you have the points to spare, this is one of those things that some players might sprinkle like 50 to 120 points in that range for 2 to 4 kill teams. And if for that player, if that's worth it, then it's awesome. Then it's straight up awesome. Of note, I believe Kill Team Cassius gains the Aquila Kill Team, which is the you actually pick one. You select one battlefield roll. When is it? After selecting the Xenos Hunter's trait. So there is one that is versatile that you're not locked into, which is quite nice.
It's cheap. It's the cheaper one as well. It's 25 points.
Yeah. However, you don't get the super bonus from it.
Correct. Yeah, you don't get the reroll all wounds. The other one really cool with Malleus too is there's mentioned dedicated transports now as well, which is really nice. So you're getting your heavy support, Lord of War, and Devastate, and your dedicated transports, which is nice.
Yeah, that's nice that they got dedicated transports in there.
Yeah, because they weren't mentioned in the previous book, so it's really cool. Also, Venator, which is it's obviously isolated towards fast attack. You're also getting flyer battlefield roll too, so you're coming up against a ton of flying headbutt or flyers. Well, there's a chance.
Yeah, man.
So,
sorry, what are you gonna say, John?
I'm thinking, well, we might move on to, because I think those little specialisms are really cool, and discuss them. But I think we might move on to Warlord traits.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, mate, because it's on the next page. So, in 8th edition, I actually liked a lot of the Warlord traits that Deathwatch had. But these ones, there's some that are just absolute fucking auto picks. On top of that, we'll just quickly add that Deathwatch got a double Warlord trait strat, so you can put on a Watchmaster or something and give him 2 traits. So, it's really cool. So we'll start from the top. Vigilance Incarnate, and I believe this was the one that was in the Marine book, I think. That in your command phase, you can select one friendly Deathwatch core unit within 6 of this Warlord. Each time you do, select one battlefield roll until the start of your next command phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack roll against an enemy unit with that battlefield roll, reroll the wound rolls of 1. So I believe, was this the tome last edition, Jordan, that allowed you for one turn to change for one unit? Or had an order?
I can't remember what it did
Yeah.
last edition.
So this is a nice little versatile one, because it just allows you to be a bit more versatile in who gets the buff. But here's the thing, I don't think you're going to be running around with like 5 kill teams. I think you're going to have like 2 or 3 backfield, right?
Yeah, I don't. I would personally. I'm not going to pick this one. It's not my choice. I don't think that's the way Deathwatch want to be played. Like that's it's too. I don't know, it's too cagey. It's like, oh, you pick one unit and they reroll ones to wound. There's some really cool relics that just you don't give a shit about any of those things. I mean, when you're looking at kill team specialisms, your chapter tactics, like stuff like that. You kind of just that becomes irrelevant almost. Like you've got so many other abilities to allow you to reroll ones to wound.
Yeah. And dude, honestly, when we start talking about Warlord traits number 2 through to 6, I think no one's going to pick one.
So 1 was also the one that came in the Codex Space Marines as well.
Yeah.
So everyone who has Space Marine Codex, go look it up.
Yeah.
It's not super exciting.
All right, Paragon of the Chapter now. This is cool. I really like that they've included this. So, select one Warlord trait from the Chapter Warlord traits, see Codex Space Marines, for this Warlord. Replace all instances with the Chapter's keyword on that Warlord trait with Deathwatch. If this Warlord has a heraldry of the chosen chapter, or other than Crimson Fist, Black Templars, Flesh Terrors, one of their successor chapters, you must select that chapter's Warlord trait. Note that this cannot be a chapter Warlord trait found in a Codex Supplement. I'm so happy they included that last line, because I don't want to, have like 15 Codexes at my disposal when I go to a tournament. But yeah, man, it pretty much allows you to take a chapter trait from the Marine book that's locked to, Salamanders or Iron Hands or whatever. I think this is so cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't Ultramarines have one where you can get CP back on a 5-up?
Yep, and Salamanders have a +2 strength one, and you can run around with a stupid Smash Captain. Yeah, it's cool.
It's great when you look at this and then you look at that relic we were talking about, the stratagem earlier, where you can go 2 Warlord traits on a character. You can pick that and pick something else.
Yeah.
So that will have some play, I think.
Yeah, I love that it says if your Deathwatch character has the heraldry on a certain chapter, you have to pick that. I'm definitely ripping that shoulder pad off and putting whatever I want on there. Yeah.
He's not Imperial Fist, I promise.
Yeah, no, he's not that Imperial Fist one that I had all through 8, though.
Yeah.
All right. So that one's the cool one for like your single character, but now we're going to get into... I guess the other cool one for the single character was Castello the Black Vault, which is... It's pretty much, instead of a Warlord trait, you can give the character a certain relic, be it Adamantium Mantle, Artificer Armor, Mastercrafter Weapon, or Digital Weapon. And that's in addition to any other relics you have. So it's kind of like saying, if you don't want a Warlord trait, take this for an extra relic.
Yep.
I guess it's kind of cool if you're pushing that max 3 or 4 relics that you can get, but I probably wouldn't go for that one. Yeah.
I can hear 4 damage Thunderhammers returning. So
yeah, you can...
actually, can captains take? That's a good question. Can they take heavy Thunderhammers? Because you got 5 damage Thunderhammers.
I don't think they can. But would you? But Jordan, would you swap this for a Warlord trait? Because the next 3 we're going to talk about are pretty psycho, right?
No, I will not touch that one. If I was building a Smash Captain, yeah, but I think I've quickly learnt that in 8th edition Smash Captains are almost redundant now. They don't. They have a place, but they don't have a place.
Yeah, they're a scalpel in a game where you really want to hammer. Like sometimes you just want to blow like big units off, right? And the Smash Captain doesn't do what it used to do. Like they're still good, but yeah, it's an interesting option that you have. Like if you don't want to take a Warlord trait, you can just fish for another relic, which is kind of cool. But I think the power in the Warlord traits are these next 3. So we'll start with Nowhere to Hide. So it's an aura. In your command phase, you can select 1 enemy unit on the battlefield until the start of your next command phase, while a friendly Deathwatch core unit within 6 of this Warlord. Each time model makes a friend in that friendly unit makes an attack against the enemy unit, it does not receive the benefit of cover for its saving throws. So Deathwatch have special ammunition, and one of them is removes cover. One of them is +1 to wound, the other one is increased range by, I believe, 6 and AP by 1, and the other one is increased damage by 1. So this allows you, this Warlord trait, pretty much allows you against one unit to do, you know, that special ammunition, Dragon Firebolt, for free. Like, you just ignore cover. And, you know, I don't know about you, Jordan, I really like this.
Yeah, and, like, if we're talking about taking tactical doctrines,
yeah,
I like it, man. I think you take tactical doctrines, say on a big group of Stormbolter boys, and you got, I don't know, something sitting in cover that's like already a 2-up, it's getting pluses in cover, pop this on them, go that, and then go tactical doctrine. You're making them neg 1 and you're ignoring their cover, which essentially becomes like a neg 2.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. It's again, you're picking a unit. If you want something dead and it's getting cover, it ain't getting cover.
Yeah. And look,
and it doesn't say pick one visible. It just says pick an enemy unit.
Yep, it's the same as 8th. You don't pick visible. It's any unit on the battlefield. So it's really good if you're about to set up for a big beacon. Like if you've got a biker character that's, you know, that's got the beacon on him, and you put this on, you pick that unit, ride out, pull someone to you with the beacon, and then just shoot away. It's awesome. So it's really cool. Literally nowhere to hide.
Yep, you cannot hide.
Now this next one is like for me it's the auto pick. It's fucked.
This is a lynch.
This is the one where it's like, should this be in the book? Optimized priority. When a friendly Deathwatch core or Deathwatch character unit that is performing an action within 6 inches of this Warlord, that unit can make ranged attacks without the action failing. Holy fuck.
That's so sexy.
I don't like to hype things too much up on the podcast, but holy fuck.
Yep, you can deploy scramblers and still fire an entire Deathwatch unit.
Yep, you can put 2 banners up in your deployment zone and fire your 10 eradicators.
Yeah, it sucks. It's that is so. Looking at these Warlord traits, I personally believe 3 and 4 are my picks.
To double up on a Watchmaster, right?
100%. I'm taking both those. They combo really well. For a very defensive, offensive character, they can do both things. We will talk about the last one, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the last one is a nice like addition if you want it. The ties that bind. So there's 2 points to this one. When a friendly Deathwatch core unit is within 6 inches of the Warlord, you can reroll morale test. Now this is cool because Marines don't have reroll morale test anymore. It's actually quite nice. The next thing is in your command phase, you can select a Deathwatch core unit. And until the start of your next command phase, that unit gains OBSEC. And if they already have OBSEC, they are double OBSEC, which is nice if you want to put it on something that wants to shoot out and automatically steal something off an opponent. I think that's kind of cool, right?
Could be some good army builds with this that aren't involving purely OBSEC units, because a lot of Deathwatch is all OBSEC.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that would have a lot of play if you mix it, again, spend a CP, mix it with another Warlord trait.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
So, like you can mix that one and optimize priority as well, to just be not failing actions when you're doing stuff, and then making units. Like you could play quite aggressive with that. I can actually see them two going really well together with like say a captain on a bike.
Yeah.
And just him playing aggressive with other bikes, like other veteran bikes, or just even outriders. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
Yeah, so that's the Warlord traits. I guess before we continue, we'll have a brief talk about special issue ammunition. Now, special issue ammunition was pretty much on a massive list of weapons in 8th. It is not on a massive list of weapons in 9th. It's on your Deathwatch bolt pistols, bolt guns, Deathwatch combi weapons. But not everyone has access to those. Big things are Stormbolters lost it. So
that are in the book.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty much your weapons that are specific to certain Deathwatch units. So the big play that a lot of people around our area were running with 36, 38 or 40 Stormbolters, back in 8th with special issue ammunition, that is down the dunny. There is a stratagem to give bolt weapons special issue ammunition, but it turns the weapons to heavy 1, which you're getting like 2 shots if a Marine has a pistol and a bolt gun. So it's a little bit lackluster. It's still alright, but I actually think the power's not in the special issue ammo this edition.
I was trying to be a good boy and definitely find a way to make that work, but I quickly discovered that you can kill more intercessors with storm bolters than you can with bolters with special issue ammo being used. So there's definitely more. It's more relevant to be running around with the with just like storm bolters and stuff. Special issue doesn't really have a lot of play anymore, but we will. There are some really cool things that Dineeth just discussed. So
Yeah.
there's a stratagem for 2 CP. You can make a unit use special ammunition, but they have to go to heavy. So your weapons you're already looking at are stalkers. Now, a really good profile weapon that we've currently been talking about, a unit we've been talking about, is the Indominate Kill Teams. Heavinesses with their Executioner bolt rifles, which are Strength 5, Neg 2, 2 damage.
Yep.
You can go Devastator Doctrine and go Strength 5, Neg 3, 3 damage bolters. And then, because they all have bolt pistols, as discussed, the pistol no longer becomes a pistol because it states in the stratagem every weapon becomes heavy, which means the pistol turns into a heavy. So it's no longer a pistol weapon, which means it can be fired. So you can fire, technically, a pistol that's doing 2 damage and a bolt that's doing 3. You could do 5 damage from 2 shots, which is from each guy, which is kind of absurd.
You're lobbing thunderhammers. It's good.
Yeah, so I can probably see an FAQ coming for the pistol thing. But still, the fact that those bolters can go to 3 damage, even your Stalker bolt rifles, you've still got access to chaplains, which give you +1 to hit and wound litanies. So if you're Strength 5, you could be killing intercessors, not giving them a 6-up save.
Yeah.
And you can kill eradicators.
Yeah.
Wounding on 3s or with +1 litany to wound. You can wound them on 3s and give them a 6-up save and watch them die to 1 bolt.
Well, I mean, there's definitely play with like if you have just Deathwatch bolters on a unit, because you don't have to use your +1 to wound round, your Hellfire round. If you have a chaplain nearby that you're just going to spray something down with, that really opens up the 2 damage round. So if you have a unit that's dedicated to just doing special ammo rounds, essentially, and you have a chappie nearby, it's a cool play. Yeah. The issue is it better than the obvious power of the Fortis and the Indominate Kill Teams? I don't think so. So, like, it's really tricky. I know there's a relic that gives a sergeant or a character as weapons special issue ammo, and there's an ability to give a sergeant that relic or piece of war gear. So me and Jordan have been talking about putting that on a Centurion sergeant to get its hurricane bolters and heavy bolters as special issue ammo. So that's one cool application where one model has it. But Jordan, I don't know how you feel about paying 28 points for a toughness 5 3 wound 3-up save model versus 100 points for a toughness 5 4 wound 2-up save model.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay.
That's not a troop. So, there's some ways you can make it work, but like I said, is it better than the obvious power? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah. My view on special issue ammo is it's cool, but I wouldn't build a whole list around it. I think there's other stuff you can probably build around. Do you tend to agree, hey?
Yeah, I do, man. I don't think it's relevant.
Oh, it's sad, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's because that's how Deathwatch have functioned for so long. But they actually don't need it.
Yeah, well, now they don't.
You can make these units. These units have a lot of functionality without needing.
And you know what? To be fair, like imagine if Hellfire rounds as they were here, and imagine if all the bolt weapons got it. Don't you think it would just be too fucked? Like I have a feeling it would be incredibly fucked, right? Like
we're looking at an edition where we're getting a lot less units on the table now than we used to. And like, if you're needing it for horde control, like you don't really. Storm bolters are strength 4. Like most hordes in this game are T3 anyway. So
yeah, exactly, man. All right, well let's blast through some relics, and then we'll move on to the juice, which is a strat. So, Beacon Angelus. A lot of people are familiar with the beacon. It's essentially a shunt or a redeploy to a character. A few changes. You can now select a Deathwatch infantry or biker unit. So you can now select the biker unit, which was a point of contention. Or the ETC FAQ didn't allow you to move a kill team if it had a biker in it. So there's they've opened that up. However, you can't pull a unit that to a character that arrived from reinforcements. So that's a bit of a nerf to the old beacon. I think people will just find a way to play around it. I'm considering putting on a bike or a jump pack character. But yeah, I think it's more or less the same thing. Cool thing
it's
is
still really
Yeah, it's still amazing. Like a full redeploy for a Marine unit, it's fucked. On
And
top, sorry, you go.
it's really good. Like we're talking about these Indominate kill teams, like 30 wounds T5. It's sitting in your backfield shooting all game,
Yeah,
and then some cheeky captain with a on a bike just takes off 20-inch move and then beacons that unit straight up to the
yeah.
middle of
Like,
the table, if
can
not to the back of the table. What do I do?
yeah, can you imagine like a turn forward Devastator Doctrine play plus a nowhere to hide play, and you launch 5 Eradicators forward and just blow something to hell? Or like, yeah, there's just like so many cool applications now, especially with the Doctrine changes for the
Yeah.
beacon. So I really like it. But
Yeah.
the next one, the Dominus Aegis, replaces a Storm Shield, Relic Shield, or Combat Shield. 2 points, add 1 to the armor saving throw, so kind of like a Storm Shield. Second point, while friendly Deathwatch core or characters are within 6 inches of the bearer, models in that unit gain a 5-up invo. So 2 cool things here. In 8th edition, it used to just be models within 6. Now it's units within 6 get the 5-up
That's a
invo.
lot.
So it's a massive bubble of
You're
string
talking
Indominate kill
40
teams.
bases.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude, massive bubble of Indominate kill teams. And me and Jordan were talking, you could put this on a 55-point company champion who has a combat shield.
Yep. He's elite, doesn't take up a character slot,
Yep.
which is another discussion that I think everyone's finding in a 9th edition is characters are they're like a dime a dozen. You've got 3. If you're taking a battalion, you're getting 3 characters, and they've got to really fill out those roles.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And oh man,
Yep.
because like looking at this, I want my Libby, which we'll go through in a bit with the psychic powers. Man, we haven't even covered psychic powers. Fuck. We'll go through the powers.
So much.
There's so much good stuff. You want your Watchmaster, I think, as a central, as a central unit, and I think you want some kind of biker character or someone that's mobile that can have a beacon. I think a chappie's nice, or a captain with some smash abilities is quite nice. So I think putting this on someone that's not a HQ is kind of important. So I think that company champion is shining in my head.
Yeah.
Because I want my apothecary as well, so that's my 5 characters.
Yeah, so he's got great play. That Thingo, the Dominus Aegis, the chapter champion. But the thing I'm really liking about this is it says core. Now Dreadnoughts currently have core. I personally think a Redemptor Dread with a 5-up invol actually becomes really good in the current meta. It takes on Eradicators really well. With its Plasma Incinerator doing 3 damage, you're killing Eradicators, and at the same time you can actually take a punch from them because you neg 1 to your damage, which is kind of cool. And you're a 5-up invol with this thing nearby.
Yeah, I know you've written some lists with a couple of Redemptors, man. It looks alright. It looks pretty solid.
Yeah, so that relic is probably going to see a lot of play. You've also got Indominate kill teams. They are a 3+ save. They are not invulnerable. They now get an invulnerable.
Yeah.
And again, they're 40 mil bases. They take up a lot of room on a table. You just need 1 model from that unit, and he's getting a 5-up that whole unit, 5-up invul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go on to the next one. We've got the Osseous Key. So Osseous Key was it was previously allowed to be taken in 8th edition on a Watchmaster. Same thing again, Watchmaster only. But so the ability now is, while an enemy vehicle unit is within 12 of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. And while an enemy vehicle unit is within 12 of the bearer, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic of that model. So it's smashing vehicles. In previous edition, it was a 9-inch bubble. Now it's gone up to 12. Tables got smaller and your bubble got bigger, so it kind of worked out well.
Yep, 12 inches is a big area. So if your Watchmaster's in the middle of your lines and you're having Defilers or any other vehicle like Death Guard vehicles coming at you, it really does gimp them a bit. Like the neg 1 to hit really hurts a lot of vehicles because aside from like Lord Discordants and Lord of Skulls, not many vehicles really hit on 2s. Rampages and stuff. So if there's vehicles that are hitting on 3 and 4 that are already getting gimped, like a Mauler Fiend or something, you're really hurting its efficiency. So it's a nice one to have. I don't know if I'll take it, but it's definitely one to have and consider in like a team environment if you want to throw up against vehicles and things like that. And it's definitely a meta pick, right? Yeah. Now Thief of Secrets.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree. I think it's not one of those relics you're going to take when you read some of these next ones coming up.
Yeah, so Thief of Secrets, it's pretty much a Xenophase Blade, but against Xenos, it's 2 damage, and it ignores invos. So
Hence Tyranids, Eldari, Orcs, Necrons, and Tau.
yeah,
2 damage.
So,
Strength 5, Neg 4.
Yeah, so you get a few applications of Thief of Secrets opening up. One of them is if you take the Salamander's trait, which is +2 strength, so you get to strength 7, neg 4, 2 damage. Then you're looking at, Catan punching power. But I don't really know if I want my characters smashing around with a relic. Like, if there's some other cool relics, so I don't know. It's nice to have, but I don't think it's a source.
No.
Yeah.
This next one. Oh my god.
Hit it, mate. Hit the tome.
The Tome of Ectoclades. This is really cool. Once per battle, in your command phase, you can use the Tome of Ectoclades. If you do, select one data sheet. So it says data sheet. So this is not a battlefield roll.
Yep.
So you could say your opponent has 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. You can go, I'm going to pick Plague Burst Crawlers. Select one data sheet used by a unit from your opponent's army until the start of your next command phase. The bearer has the following ability. So it's an aura ability within 6. So it's Deathwatch friendly Deathwatch core units within 6 of the bearer. Each model in that unit makes an attack against a unit belonging to that selected data sheet. You can reroll all the wound rolls. That's huge.
This is like when you're playing Dota and someone pops an ulti. Like, this is
yes.
insane.
This has a lot of play. So we're all talking about those reroll 1s to wound. So you're picking troops, okay? You're smashing troops all game. You're reroll 1s to wound. Happy days. All of a sudden, something real nasty rears its head. You're now going to be rerolling all your wound rolls. It's really, really cool. I love this relic. I think it's definitely going to fit in a gunline Deathwatch army. And that aura again, 6 inches, really good. Put it on a character. It's probably going to go on to my Watchmaster personally.
It's definitely going on my Watchmaster with nowhere to hide and optimized priority. Yeah.
Yes. That is a really cool relic. Again, it just makes that Deathwatch. That's one turn of something getting blown the shit off the table. Yeah. That's 1 out of 5 turns. So that's really cool. I love it.
It's if I can add, Jordan, the fact that you can pick it whenever you like is awesome, because let's say you get hit, like let's say your Indominus teams get hit by a melee unit, you pop it that turn, you pay a CP to fall back and shoot, which you can do now, and you just fall back, shoot, blow something up, and another unit charges it, and you get it in combat as well. So like you can really dumpster one thing really hard. It's like the Relic of Loscadia, or it's like the Raiment of the Maraviglia that Emperor's Children have. Like, it's just a once per battle, just fuck off out of my zone. Like, it's like a Kion. Like, it's so good. So I'm auto including this. It's my one I'm gonna run every game.
We'll move through these next few relics pretty quickly.
I was just gonna say, we got Adamantium Mantle, Master Crafting, Digital Weapons, Artificer Armor, all the normal stuff that you have in all the books. Couple of cool ones. The Blackweave Shroud, +1 to toughness, and a 4-up Feel No Pain against mortals. Kind of nice. Don't know if I'll take it, but kind of nice.
No, and I probably won't touch it. Yeah. The Spear of the First Vigil, pretty cool. So it's a rapid fire 2, strength 4, neg 1, 2 damage bolter. That is also it's the spears that they use on the Watchmasters. Actually, I've just noticed this too.
Okay.
So it replaces the Vigil Spear only, which means it's only Watchmasters.
Yeah.
But basically, in combat, it's strength 6, or it's +2 strength, neg 3 damage. It can also have access to special ammunition, which is really cool.
Yeah. So you're throwing Thunderhammers and fighting Thunderhammers as well. So I like that this pips the Vigil Spear up to strength 6, because it's now strength 5 for the Watchmaster. You can also, if you want to, you can run a Watchmaster with the Salamander's Warlord trait to get it to strength 8, which is kind of nice. So you've literally got a Thunderhammer at neg 3. But same thing, I think... sorry.
Yeah, so it makes you a mini Smash Cap.
Yeah, the fact that you can only put it on a Watchmaster is kind of annoying, because they can't really move anywhere. They're really expensive, and you want them in your backfield. But it's a cool little relic. I probably won't take it.
Agreed.
The Soul Fortress Libby relic. You can ignore any modifiers to Psychic. Yeah, it's alright. But it increases the range of your Psychic Hood to 24, so you've always got a +1 to deny. Kind of cool. Kind of cool.
Yep, that's pretty nice. Um, yeah, I guess the ignored modifiers is really cool when you're talking about Calexis and that. But again, very
Yeah.
situational. This army is not a it's not a
It's not a
psycho-based army.
psychic
You've got some
battery.
good
Yeah.
powers, but again, you're
Yeah.
not going to be running.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not going to be running around with 6 librarians. So,
Yeah. Well, Bane Bolts of Erixia has changed.
what
It's
else we got?
changed. So it's pretty much you can choose to fire a Bane Bolt, and when you do, it's a Strength 6, -2, 3 damage round. So, rules as written, Jordan, if you're firing a Bane Bolt, it looks like you can still use special issue ammo on the Bane Bolt.
Yep.
So you can get it to damage 4. It's kind of cool, but like I said, it's a one-shot wonder. Like, nice to have, I guess, but you've got access to that with, the strat to, make your 2 damage weapons 3 damage as well for a whole unit, so I probably won't take it, but it's cool to have on a little character, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how to say this next one. So the
Vorkan?
Hawk was it Vorkan?
Vorkan pattern Auspicator, yeah.
Auspicator.
Oh, say the special ability, mate, it's even better.
It just looks German to me.
Omnikinopticon Aura. While the friendly Deathwatch core unit is within 6 of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack against a unit that can fly, add 1 to the hit roll. Now, if this was in 8th edition, I would pay fucking 4 CP for this. With all the Neg 1 fly going around, man. But it's just 2 years too late,
So I think if at the way the meta is at the moment, there's not a lot of fly getting around to be too worried about. But there could be some future for this. This definitely might have a play when some more books start coming out. We start seeing more units with fly.
Yeah.
Wait till the Blood Angels book comes out, ladies and gentlemen, because they all have fly.
Yeah.
Being +1 against Blood Angels might actually be pretty handy. But nothing too amazing there for now.
I think it's nice to have, because this could be an awesome meta pick in like a year, right?
Yeah, that's it, and that's what I mean. Having it now in this book, pretty handy. It's not a one-turn wonder. That's any units within 6, and it says Deathwatch Core, so you can do that all game. +1 against fly. Yeah. So if gargoyles become big, ladies and gentlemen, yeah.
Nah, mate, it's gonna be the what are those little tower dudes? The Vespids, mate. When Vespids become big.
Oh, I know, right? Well, actually, drones have fly. There you go. You can +1 hit against drones.
Yeah. You still will only kill like 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Alright, the Artificer Bolt Case. Now, this is what we were talking about before. It's a relic that bolt weapons equipped by the bearer gain special issue ammo. So this is the one you could like sneakily put on a Centurion Sergeant with the strat and make his bolt weapon special issue. Kind of cool. Nice little toolkit.
Yep.
The
Eye of the Abiding.
I'll read it out, Jordan. Go for it.
Yeah, so each time the bearer makes an attack, you can ignore any and all hit roll, wound roll, ballistic skill, and weapon skill modifiers for that attack. Yeah, I don't think it's that important. Each time the bearer makes an attack or an unmodified wound roll of 6, invulnerable saves cannot be made against that attack.
So you're looking at probably 1 attack hitting an unmodified wound roll of 6. So yeah, I'm not super convinced it's amazing. Could be cool on a Smash character if we can still take abilities to pump our attacks up from the Marine book. Like I was thinking of Teeth of Terror, but that's a relic too, so you can't take this with the Teeth of Terror. So yeah, I mean nothing too crazy there, hey. But so I think the standouts in the relics, Beacon's always going to be good. Yeah. Dominus Aegis is always going to be good. Turn of Ectoclades is, that's my go-to. So they're probably the 3 I'm looking at. Any others that stand out to you?
Nah, man, I'm sold on those 3. Again, if we see fly show up, the whatever the hell pattern or spectacator, that's going to have some play. And if we see a lot of vehicles,
Osseous Key.
Maybe actually, you know what? Osseous Key might come alright when Hayden rocks up with his Dreadnought army again.
Yeah, maybe.
Osseous Key might have a play. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think any of them are really worth talking about at the moment. So.
Yeah. We'll quickly rattle through, I guess, the Xenopurge discipline now. I think this is an amazingly strong psychic tree.
Correct.
I'm auto-including a Libby, not just to carry the beacon in and not just a Veil of Time unit anymore. I'm taking a Libby for 2 of these powers every turn. So there's some offensive powers, there's some defensive powers. We'll go straight through them. So the first one is And before I can add, most of these are a pretty simple warp charge. They're like warp charge 6 or 7. So I think the highest one is a 7. There's 3 7s, 3 6s. So it's awesome, man.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
It's definitely achievable.
2 7s, 2 7s, 4 6s. So first one, Premorphic Resonance. So it's a blessing. If manifested, warp charge 6, select one friendly Deathwatch unit within 18. It can overwatch on 5s. If it starts the fight phase with engagement range, it can fight first. And each time a melee attack is made, add 1 to the hit roll.
Yeah.
So this is awesome if you're about to send a unit right up front that it's going to get charged or, charge in. Because they overwatch better, they fight better, and they fight first. So warp charge 6 for this. This and the next one I'm popping on my front unit pretty much every time.
Yeah. Okay. I like that one. I think it's it's a good power to have.
Yeah.
We'll move on to probably the next, which is
go for it,
I personally reckon it's the best in the book.
Yep.
The best power. Fortified with Contempt. It's a blessing. Warp charge 6, which is even better. If manifested, select one friendly Deathwatch infantry or biker unit within 18 of the Psyker until the start of your next psychic phase. Each time a model in that unit loses a wound, roll a d6 on a 5+. Win is not lost. That's not mortal wounds, that is wounds.
Watch out, Cucks. We got Delightful Agonies too.
We are Delightfully Agonying, and we're doing it on a 6. And actually, I think it's exactly the same as Delightful Agonies.
Yeah.
That is a really, really cool power when you mix it with other abilities. Like with other powers, it's really, really. It's got a lot of play. It's really cool. So that one gets included in any Libby you take. If you're not taking that power and you're not taking Libby, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So we'll go on to Neural Void.
Well, actually, do you want to go through the final blessing, Mantle of Shadows, and then we'll talk about the aggressive ones?
Okay, yep.
So
this is Power 5, Mantle of Shadow. We have, so it's Warp Charge 6. If manifested, select one friendly Deathwatch infantry unit within 12 of this Psyker until the start of your next Psychic phase. If the unit does not shoot or declare a charge, enemy models cannot target that unit with ranged attacks unless they are within 12, or if it is the closest eligible.
So
unit.
This is fucking silly because you can still do an action while doing this. So if you're on an objective doing an action, you throw up that big beefy unit forward to screen for this unit, you can't be targeted. This is particularly obnoxious.
A lot of cool little ways you can screen with this. There's actually a lot of units in this book that screen really well. You've got pretty mobile stuff. You can beacon a unit up and then protect it.
Or you can beacon a unit up and protect a unit behind it, right? And that's just like doing a very important action.
I always think any army or ability that can be given to a unit to stop them being targeted has always been really strong. It takes a good player, a good skill cap to take advantage of that. To like really place your units particularly in particular ways, like within 12 is not. It's actually kind of it's not the greatest distance on smaller tables. You're going to get within 12 pretty fast, so the unit can be targeted. But if you can, time everything really well and make sure your opponents can't move past 12, get within those 12 inches, this actually could become a pretty decent power. So I like it.
Now there's a few sick debuffing ones. So Neural Void, Malediction. Warp Charge 7 for this one. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18. Neg 1 from their attacks characteristics. Pretty solid. And each time a charge is declared for that unit, only the closest enemy unit can be selected as the target for that charge. So you've got a power that stops you being shot. Now you've got a power that stops your army being charged if you just throw a unit forward. So you've got two like buffing powers for your guys, and then you've got two like screening powers. This psychic tree is unreal. It's
very Eldar.
Yeah, this is like it feels like a Dark Angel psychic tree. Like it feels like you're just getting fucked by your own hand. Like it just feels like you're punching yourself in the face if you're playing against this.
Yeah,
like I'm almost tempted to take like 2 or 3 Libbies.
Yeah.
Or
it's cool.
A Libby and a Super Libby. This is so cool. So if you're playing against like a big brick of Alaris Terminators, you put this on that unit. If they don't turn it off, it's great. But you put this on that unit, and then you put a little like shit pusher like Rhino just in front of you, and they can only charge the Rhino.
Yeah,
They can't charge
Yeah, I
anything
like
else.
it.
Yeah, and it's a 5-turn game, and if you're stopping them being active in the turn they want to be active, like 10, 3, 4, 5. So cool.
It's a bad day.
Yeah, man.
Psychic Cleanse. I don't really love. I
Warp,
didn't like it at first. So
Warp Charge
it kind of had.
6. It's pretty much like Catan Power. Warp Charge 6. Every model roll a d6 for each enemy model within 9. On a 6, they take a mortal wound. So the fact it affects all models is cool if you jump into a horde.
Yeah.
9-inch aura, pretty big. But probably wouldn't take this every game. Hey, the other one's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're not going. Again, if you're going to take a Psycho and throw him into within 9 inches of a horde to try to get some mortal wounds, you're probably playing him wrong.
Yeah.
You're probably playing Deathwatch wrong at that stage. Yeah,
Right.
so the next one,
man.
this one is a beaut.
This is the one that just fucks the mirror match. Like the fact that Deathwatch have this means they can actually fight Marines. Severance. Warp Charge 7. Thank God it's 7, because otherwise it'd be too wild. If manifested, select one enemy character within 18. The first point, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound, not the big deal, but until the start of your next psychic phase, reduce the range of that unit's aura abilities by 3. If the result of the psychic test was greater than that character unit's leadership, then until the start of your next psychic phase, enemy units cannot benefit from the unit's aura abilities. So, wow.
Yep. So, to anyone that was listening to the last episode about Necrons, as we discussed, Necrons have some insane, like one character can buff a lot of things. Like, you've got one character buffing all Canoptics. Imagine just rocking up and turning off all those abilities. Yeah, I think that's a really cool. It's a really cool ability to have. So I love this one.
Like, this psychic tree blows my mind.
Yeah,
I want to fit like 3 libbies in, but I'm probably just going to run 1, and I've got to pick what I want to take, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool, man. Like, can you imagine like putting this on, the Deathwing 5 Feel No Pain banner, for example, or putting this on an Apothecary, for example, to take off a Feel No Pain, because it's only a 3-inch range. You just put it on the Apothecary and it's gone.
Yeah, so, he's not giving it 6 up.
Yeah, and then you just hit with all your 3 damage special issue stuff if you've planned for it. So, the turn that you want to plan to hit, you can actually make it work. So 18-inch range is no joke, because the board's a bit smaller. You can cast that from the mid-board area, nice and protected. And, try and get it off. Warp Charge 7, I'm happy it's 7, not like a 4, because this is really good. And it is a targeted smite, it's a targeted mortal wound, so that even if you have a character on 1 mood, you just pop it, and, they're taking damage, so it's really nice. So look, my go-tos will actually probably be the more conservative ones. It'll probably be the Overwatch on 5s, Fight First, and +1 to hit Primorphic Residence. And it'll be the 5 Feel No Pain. That'll be my go-to, but if I had a second Libby, my god, I'm taking Severance. I'm taking probably like Neural Void.
Yeah, so my two go-tos at the moment are probably going to be Fortify with Contempt and Neural Void, or if I don't take Neural Void, I'll be taking Premorphic Resonance, which is the Overwatch on 5. So 1, 2, and 3 are looking really, really good in this codex for me. So
yeah.
Especially the way I want to play the army. So
man, we're hitting the 1 hour mark and we're ready to dive into some big shit. I guess I'll quickly cover the secondary objectives. Now, unsure if many tournaments will allow the chapter specific secondary objectives, but we've got 4. We've got a battlefield supremacy 1, score 5 victory points if there are no enemy units excluding aircraft within 6 of your deployment zone, and there is at least 1 Deathwatch unit from your army wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. You cannot score this objective in the first battle round. I'm never taking this.
Nope.
Unless you're playing against a gun line that's going to sit in the corner that you can easily get a unit into their deployment zone. Like, 2 turns of this, not bad. But you score at the start of your command phase, so your opponent has a full turn to stop you doing this. Purge the enemy, Call Order. After you and your opponent finish deploying, select a battlefield role. Both players alternate selecting battlefield roles for the units in their opponent's armies until 3 different battlefield roles have been selected. If their opponent's army does not include 3 battlefield roles, select as many possible, blah blah blah. At the end of the battle, for each battlefield role that was selected, score 5 victory points if every enemy unit in that opponent's battlefield role was destroyed. You're pretty much asking to table your opponent. I don't know if I like this.
No, it's not. It's not amazing. Yeah, you're asking, like you said, you're asking to table your opponent.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one, Cripple Stronghold. It's pretty much your opponent selects an objective. If they have one in their deployment zone, it's one of them. You got to do an action. The action's done in the start of your next command phase, and you score 6 points each time you do it. So it's pretty much like the teleport Homer secondary. Pretty hard.
Yep. And the last one is Suffer Not the Alien.
Yep, go for it. This one's sick.
Yeah, score 1 victory point at the end of the battle for each enemy Tyrannid, Eldari, Orc, Necrons, Tau, Empire unit destroyed by a Deathwatch unit.
Just to make Tau bad.
Yep. So if any of those units, any of those armies have 15 units, kill them all. You score max points.
Yeah, so it's just like a kill secondary. So I don't want to cover these too much. I don't really care about these because I'm not sure tournaments will have them.
I think they're not going to be reusing them.
But they're not even usable like that well. Like it doesn't really play to our strength. But anyway, we'll move on. All right, mate. I think we're ready. I think we're ready for the strats.
We're doing the strats. Everyone's favourite part of any codex.
So these strats are fucking sick. Now this is the part I guess we'll talk about the combos because we have all the info.
Yes.
Starting with Death to the Alien. Use this strat in the fight phase until the end of the fight phase. Long story short, while it's within engagement range of a Xenos unit, Tyrannid, Eldari, Orc, Necron, Tau. +1 attack. Pretty sick.
So it's like you really want to kill those Xenos. So
yeah. 1 CP +1 attack. Pretty good.
And you're getting +1 to hit. So
yeah,
that's pretty good. So you're hitting on 2s.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, nice. And I guess we'll go through the Xeno-specific ones. So the Eldar one, 1 CP to ignore ballistic skill modifiers. The Tyrannid one, unmodified hit rolls against Tyrannid synapse units, automatically wound. Now, we didn't get character sniping against Nids, so a bit of a nerf. There's 1 CP. Yeah. Stem the Green Tide, 2 CP. If you killed a model, you neg 2 to charge rather than neg for every model you killed. So, a bit more balanced.
Yeah.
Still a nice
bit more
2
balanced,
CP.
but only neg 2 is not. It's not amazing.
Yeah.
It might be game changing. I mean, you could, in the old edition, you could be 3 inches away playing Orcs, and if you lost 8 dudes, you're probably not going to make that charge.
I definitely did that to Aaron, the poor guy. I think I neg 13 poor Aaron's charge, and I think he still smashed me.
Yeah.
So. But the Necron one also got nerfed, overkill. It's pretty much you neg 1 from reanimation, but it's only for 1 unit's attacks. So, I mean, it's good if you're going to clear them with like 40 shots, but otherwise, still a nerf. Because before you could.
It's only 1 CP though. So.
Yeah, it's only 1 CP. But what was a buff though? The Tau one. Use this stratagem targeting scramblers. Use this stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase after a Tau Empire unit has resolved its shooting attacks against a Deathwatch unit from your army. Remove all marker light counters. So pretty much after a unit is shot, you shrug the light, which is cool because before you'd have to get hit by a marker light, you have to decide then and there when to use it. So yeah, pretty cool. So they're the Xenos ones. I guess it sounds shit to say, but they're not as relevant because there's less Xenos aside from Crons in the meta, right?
Yeah, well, we're not. Yeah. That's it. But I think, obviously, GW have probably got all these other armies in mind. Tower still going to have marker lights, everyone, and Orcs are still going to want to charge in combat. Like, nothing's changing. These armies are still doing what they want to do in those aspects.
Alright, so adaptive tactics, 2 CP. Yep. Now, we're about to go down a big fucking rabbit hole. Use this stratagem in your command phase if a Watchmaster unit from your army is on the battlefield. So, number 1, I'm having my Watchmaster. Change the battlefield role selection for the purpose of Xenos Hunters for your army. So you can only choose the stratagem once. So this is the one where you switch up your pretty much your chapter tactic if you need to. So you've got this in the bank. So even if you don't have the Warlord trait to switch it up, you have this ready. Still usable, 2 CP, pretty heavy. I actually thought I was talking about the chapter tactic one, so I look like an idiot now. But still alright.
Not it.
Yeah,
no, that one. That one's called Brotherhood of Veterans. But,
the Brohood. All right, we'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
Atonement through honor. You want to get that one?
Yeah, so use the stratagem in your opponent's charge phase. Select one Deathwatch unit from your army that contains a Black Shield. Black Shields are 25 points for a vet squad in your Proteus teams. That unit can perform a heroic intervention this phase as if it were a character unit.
Yeah,
So
quite
you're still
nice.
getting the heroic intervention. I think in the previous edition they had to heroic if they were
They
in
did.
heroic range.
They did.
Yeah. So
Now, Jordan.
now you can choose for a stratagem of 1 CP, which is really cool.
Now, the thing is, Jordan, technically you can't include a Black Shield in a Proteus team. You can only have it in a Deathwatch veteran squad, which is rules as written, which is pretty annoying. Not gonna lie. Yeah, but it's still quite nice. Still quite nice.
Thanks for
Um,
nothing.
yeah, thanks for nothing. Sanction of the Black Vault. Use this strat before the battle when you're mustering your army. If your warlord has the Deathwatch keyword, select one Deathwatch model that has the word Sergeant in the profile. That model can have one of the following relics from the Watch Fortress: Artificer Armor, Mastercrafter Weapons, Digital Weapons, Bane Bolts, Artificer Bolt Cache. So this is the one we were talking about, putting the Artificer Bolt Cache on a Centurion Sergeant. So some cool applications.
Yep.
Other things, you can Artificer Armor them, you can Mastercraft a weapon, which is kind of nice. And you can give them the Bane Bolt, so you can have a Sergeant that's protected in a unit launching that 3 damage round every turn. So not bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
A Vigil Unmatched, which we discussed
That's
earlier.
the extra Warlord trait, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep, Deathwatch character model unit that's not named to be a Warlord. You can generate an additional Warlord trait. It's pretty straightforward. It's fully sick. We love it.
Yeah, man. So priority doctrine adoption. Now, in the Marine Codex, there's a 2 CP strat for one unit to be affected by all, pretty much by all doctrines. Now, Deathwatch got a 1 CP strat that allow them to just switch doctrines. So this is super versatile. It's super cheap. It just allows you to go, I'm going to do Dev Doctrine for turn 3, but this one unit's also going to have Assault Doctrine to play with. So, quite nice. Quite nice. So to note, I'm pretty sure it replaces the existing combat doctrine, so you don't get both, but still quite nice.
Yes. So I think now we've got 6 more stratagems, 7 more stratagems. One of them we spoke about earlier.
Yep.
6 more stratagems that actually are really good.
Yep.
They've all got very good place
man,
in
so
the
good.
current meta, and make a Deathwatch army function super well. So we'll probably get to the juiciest one of the lot.
Yeah, go for it,
Brotherhood
man.
of
All
Veterans.
yours.
So use this stratagem in your command phase. Select one Deathwatch unit from your army. So it's not saying bikes or this, it says Deathwatch unit. Then select one chapter tactic or successor tactic. Select from the Codex Space Marines until the end of your turn. Models in that unit have the chapter tactic or successor tactic instead of Xena Hunter's chapter tactic. So you're not re-rolling ones to wound anymore. But you don't care because I'm now White Scars, or
Man,
I'm now Ultramarines,
There's
or
so much application here.
yes.
So just to...
And
sorry, you go.
it really backs onto a lot of these other strats we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah,
But,
so
yeah,
can you
this is
imagine
cool.
this, man? So you've got this unit, and a Fortis kill team, 5 Outriders, 5 Intercessors. You combat squad it. Turn 1, you get turn 1. You go 2 CP, this Outrider unit's White Scars. It's advancing and charging. You advance it up the board. You got a Libby, 18 inches away. You put on the +1 to hit, 5 up Overwatch, fight first power, and then you give it the 5 up Feel No Pain power. It charges. It hits something. Oh, it hits a Xenos unit, 1 CP, +1 attack. That Outrider unit has 36 attacks that hit on 2s. Oh, it's turn 1, I've selected Assault Doctrine. They're all AP2 attacks. Suck a dick. Yeah.
It has there's so much play for this strat.
Yeah.
We're talking a Deathwatch unit is stuck in combat. You've got to get them out of combat. Cool. You want that unit to shoot. You're Ultramarines for a turn. You want to be +1 to wound in combat. You're Blood Angels for a turn. You want to be Dark Angels. Be Dark Angels. You can pick whatever chapter you want. It is so versatile. It's really cool. It's such a unique Deathwatch stratagem. No other army's going to have access to something like this.
Yeah.
And you can make like particular units so killy
Can you imagine
that do
like...
a particular role, and then give them that.
Yeah, can you imagine a Crimson Fist bolter unit with +1 to hit if they're shooting, multiple models plus exploding sixes on bolt weapons? Like it's
Yeah.
like there's just so many applications, and this strat is like it's why you want just you've got to balance out the relics and warlord traits with having CP because this strat using it twice a game is going to be just game changing. Like you have, we'll talk about a couple of things coming up where if you have a fly unit or a bike unit, you can pay a CP to fall back
Oh,
and
and
shoot or
how
fall back and
fluffy is it?
charge. Yeah, oh dude, for sure. It's like one dude in the kill team's like, hey guys, let's do this because I learned how to do this, and everyone fucking does it.
Yep. And because Space Marines are the ultimate of communication on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So yeah, man, like this is the source. I'm so happy we have it. But
Yeah,
next one,
that's a great
disruptive
strat.
launch. Go for it.
Yes. So disruptive launch 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your movement phase when a Deathwatch jump pack unit, Indomitor kill team unit that contains an Inceptor, a Proteus unit that contains a Vanguard veteran with a jump pack unit falls back from that. That unit is eligible to shoot even if it fell back this turn. So it's like the old edition where you can fall back and shoot, but you're now just paying a CP to do it. I'm not hurt by this at all because I get one every turn.
Yeah, and yeah, you're always going to have it, right? If you get hit by something, and there's another one coming up, we'll just talk about it now, called Relentless Assault, where if you have a biker, if it's a biker unit or a kill team that contains a veteran biker or outrider, you can fall back and charge. So, you're always going to have that 1 CP at the start of your turn, so it's just always an option. So my kill teams are going to have, the fly dude, the Inceptor or the Vanguard vet or whatever in there when I can.
Yeah.
And the fact that Relentless Assault, the next one we'll talk about, the biker one, is any Deathwatch biker or unit that contains a outrider or biker. Means that stupid White Sky unit we talked about just running up the field, and let's say it wraps something up, right?
Yeah.
1 CP next turn, it's falling back and charging.
Yeah. And it can be Blood Angels that time it charges.
Yeah.
+1 to wound. It's really good. So Relentless Assault, Disruptive Launch, and Brotherhood of Veterans. 4 CP for all of them, and they're all really cool, and they all bounce off each other really well.
I'm going to have to try really hard not to blow all my CP turn 1.
Yep. On relics and then on this.
Yeah. So now we still got Teleportarium. We can in Strike Force we can use it twice. You can deep strike a Deathwatch infantry, dreadnought, or biker for 1 CP.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah, so you can do it twice for 2 CP, which is really nice because Deathwatch have these big fat infantry units that are like 1 million power level, which would normally be very expensive to deep strike. So to be able to do it for 1 CP for like a big Indomitor team is really, really sweet.
Don't need a drop pod. I'm just coming in.
Yeah, man. All right, hit Shroudfield. I know you like this one.
Yeah, Shroudfield. So we probably failed to discuss earlier when we were talking about kill teams because they made us so moist. The Corvus Blackstar got a little bit better. It's kind of the rules are pretty much the same. It's 185 points. Well, I think it's 205 with Hurricane Bolters on it. But Shroudfield, use a stratagem 2 CP at the start of the first battle round. Select 1 Corvus Blackstar unit from your army. Until the end of the battle round, that unit cannot be selected as a target of a ranged attack unless it's the closest eligible target to the firing model.
Yeah,
so you can now take everyone loves their little precious Corvus. You can now take one and hide it behind all your super tough vets, and it won't die in the first turn.
Yeah,
which is really nice. And then you can go fill it with all your frag cannons and go fight into your opponent's deployment zone and shoot him in the face.
Yeah, the big question here is, will you take a Corvus, isn't it?
Yeah, so in my list, I had a Corvus initially. I've now taken it out because I don't actually think I need to be spending 2 CP to keep a flyer alive. I don't want to be doing that. I'd rather spend 1 CP and get an extra cool relic to keep other shit alive.
Corvus is another kill team.
Yeah, that's right. So, I think the Corvus is it's still in a tough place. I think any flyer is now that they're only neg 1. And if you're playing against a Deathwatch army that has that really weird or Spectacator thing, which is +1 to hit against fly vehicles, well, you'll kill it eventually. So I don't think that's amazing. It kind of had a little bit of play, but I don't think it does. We'll discuss the Clavis. That was a stratagem in the previous edition. It comes back to a Watchmaster again. Any select enemy units. Use a stratagem in the fight phase. Select 1 enemy unit enemy vehicle unit within 1 inch of the. So basically, it's not saying engagement range, which I think is really interesting. It's within 1 inch of the Watchmaster unit from your army. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds until the end of the phase. The unit is not eligible to fight until after all eligible units from your army have done so.
Yep, it's
so
pretty good,
no
man.
interrupts.
So let's say you get charged by a Lord Discorder or something, you can just turn it off, make it fight last, and you pile in and fight it first.
Beat the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Nice. And then after you've beaten the shit out of it, you can, I don't know, go tag something else and then fall back and shoot later.
Special issue loadout is a final strat.
Which we discussed earlier about turning your bolt pistols into heavy. And
that's the one. No. Yeah, cool.
So we have discussed that one.
Yeah, so look, these are sick, man. These are awesome.
Yes.
So, like, as we kind of mentioned, my standout ones are, like you said, Brotherhood of Veterans, and then the fallback shoot and fallback charge. Like, they're awesome. And then you've got your pre-game ones, like your extra Warlord traits and extra relics and stuff. So, Teleportarium as well. Yeah, pretty baller.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll quickly talk about some of these data sheets. We'll just run through them like super fast. Watchmaster's now 125 points. His profile is exactly the same as it was in 8th. It hasn't changed an inch. But he now he rerolls one, so he's got Right to Battle for Deathwatch Core. And then in his command phase, he can select one Deathwatch Core or character unit from his army. And until the end of the next command phase, they can reroll all their attacks, all their hits. That's cool. Watch Captain Artemis. He's back. He's still doing his thing. He still has his status bomb, which is pretty cool, but this time he doesn't wound himself when he throws it, so that's really cool. He's still doing D6 mortal wounds.
Yeah, man.
He's got a 6-up Feel No Pain, and he's Watch Captain Artemis. Chaplain Cassius, he's still there. He kind of is a bit garbage. He's a chaplain that has no jump pack or a bike. He's got a pistol. Crozarius is okay, but you're not buying him for a Crozarius. He can cast one litany, but it's on +1 to cast. Again, not amazing. And there's like designer notes on this stating that this is supposed to be a representation of Chaplain Cassius in his earlier point of his life, before he went crazy in the Ultramarines, while he was with the Deathwatch. You've got Codicia Notorian, so I think he is the Dark Angel Librarian from what I've gathered.
Okay, I have no idea.
So I'm fairly sure he was the one that was in the what was that box set that came out that they were selling? Dark Vengeance. They were selling 10,000 of them. I'm fairly sure he's the Libby from that, just posed differently here. Actually, he might even be a Blood Angel. Dare I say that? So he's nothing amazing. He's got Psychic Hood. His sword is +1 strength, -4 D3 damage. He's got a same stat line as any other Libby, but he's just got Battle Psyker. Each time this model attempts to manifest smite or a Witch Fire power, add 1 to the Psychic test. So it's really garbage because you're not after Witch powers or Witch Fire, which is the within 9 do a mortal wound to models.
It's only Psychic Cleanse, isn't it?
Yep. So he still manifests 2 and denies 1. So he knows Smite and 2 other powers. So I don't think he's any good. He's 100 points and he's got no jump pack or anything. I don't like him.
I like the fact that the normal Libby can carry a relic like a beacon if you want to. So I probably won't take him.
And a jump pack. Jump packs are so good.
Yeah. But is there anything you want to cover before you want to go through lists? Because we are hitting a pretty long episode. I fucking love it.
You can take Deathwatch Terminator squads now. That's kind of cool. They can take all the funky loadouts. You can still take teleport homers.
Yes.
Now you just teleport back to your deployment zone. It's a bit different, so you don't have to go back to the beacon. You can just go anywhere in your deployment zone. Which is really, really cool. And you've got veteran biker squads. I don't know if I touched on them earlier. I think they fit in really well in the meta at the moment. So we were just discussing earlier about Outriders. Outriders are 4 wounds, T5, 3 up. You've got veteran squads, which are 3 wounds. So 2 damage is still 2 two damage weapons are going to go through and kill a vet bike.
Yeah.
They're going to kill an outrider as well. Veteran bikes can also take power swords and power fists and stuff along those lines, which outriders can't take. So these are probably really good at killing more elite units. You can still take an attack bike as well.
A couple of points, Jordan, because they're actually a pretty cool unit because we have access to a warlord trait that can make them obsec when they run out. So base they have 2 attacks, and if they have an Astartes chainsword on the charge, that means they have 4 attacks. So we're approaching a reasonable level. The sergeant has 3, so on the attack he has 5. But a veteran attack bike has 4 attacks. That's actually no joke. So just stick a heavy ultra and a multi-melter on him, and he's like pumping a bunch of attacks. Because a vet bike, it doesn't have a chainsword, but let me just see. It can't replace its bolt pistol with a chainsword, unfortunately.
Any veteran biker may equip one of the following: bolt pistol, Astartes chainsword, power axe, power sword, power maul.
Yeah, but not the attack bike, because if the attack bike could take an Astartes chainsword, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that's right. But hey, you can go to, I actually think that unit can have some play, but the downside is they're not obsec, which we discussed earlier.
And the other thing is, like, comparing them to the combat squad at Outrider from the kill team, it's not infantry. So I think that's my big gripe with them. But they're still not bad, man. They're still alright.
Yeah. So, we've got the Corvus. Corvus is still doing the Corvus thing. You're doing mortal wounds when you fly every unit. You can do mortal wounds on 6s up to 10 dice. You've got your Black Star launcher now, the rocket launcher, which is 2d3, strength 5, neg 1 damage. It's a blast weapon. Hurricane bolters. It's no extra cost if you want to swap the twin linked assault cannons for your twin layers. You can get rid of your Black Stars for storm strikes, which are the same profile. They were an 8, strength 8, neg 3 damage, heavy 1. Your war gear that's attached to it's probably changed. The Auspex array. You can now remove basically just ignores cover for 5 points on enemy units that they're shooting at, or you can take your Infernum Halo launcher. So
I think it's pretty cool. It's got its ignore cover from the Auspex array, which is really nice. The launcher only affects its armor save against when aircraft shooter gets +1 armor save. I don't know if that's useful, but the ignore cover is quite nice just for the hurricane bolters and stuff. Kind of just gives them neg 1. But yeah, man. So I think the raw power in this is in like the core rules rather than the data sheets. I feel like it's in the kill teams, the strats, the relics, the warlord traits, the psyche powers. So looking at monofaction Deathwatch army, what are you leaning towards, and what are you building at the moment?
Okay, so my current list at the moment, bang on 2,000. So I'm looking at a captain on a bike with a power fist, Libby with a jump pack, and a watchmaster. I'm going to Fortis kill team, so that's the intercessors and the 5 outriders. I'm going to combat squad that, so I can get my 5 outriders rolling around. I'm going to Dominant kill team with 3 eradicators, an inceptor, and then 6 heavy intercessors, just because I want the bodies so I can keep those eradicators shooting for ages. I've got 2 Proteus kill teams decked out with storm bolters. Both have a Terminator and a bike and a Vanguard vet in all of them. I think one of them doesn't have a bike, so I can just take, it was a bit cheaper. Taking a company champion with a shield, a Primaris Apothecary, and then 2 Redemptor Dreads with the Plasma Incinerators. So the idea of this list is basically 2 Redemptors sit at the backfield. They'll be screened out by those cheap intercessors that I've got left from that Fortis team. I'll just I'll just wrap one of the Dreads. I'll keep the company champ back with his shield to give him the 5-up invul. I'll probably keep an Indominate kill team with them as well, so they got a 5-up invul. The Outriders will go steal objectives, and the Proteus kill teams will just play aggressive. I'll probably leave one in deep strike, and then I'll just beacon the other one. And because they've got the 2+ and a 4++ and lots of wounds, they're probably going to survive a bit longer. So they're going to be more the aggressive, and the other stuff will play defensively. And I'll have my bike captain with a beacon, Watchmaster just buffing everything with a tome. Keeping my 3 teams back that can do probably most of the damage, and then just setting the Proteus teams up to just knock off any hordes. That's 36 bolter shots from each. at 12-inch range, and it's great too because we've still got access to Space Marine stratagems, so you can move a Proteus team and then count them as not moving, so you can still fire your bolters at 24-inch range, and getting 36 shots.
Yeah, it's really nice, man.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So, and the Redemptor Dreads, I think they currently have a really good place because they're core. They have a really good place in Deathwatch, and then give me a 5-up invul with the Plasma Incinerators. That weapon got so good. So that's my current list. It's just a battalion. I'm probably going to spend likely 2 or 3 CP or 2 CP on extra relics. So I'll have 3 relics in total, taking the tome, the beacon, and the shield, or the was it the
Dominus Aegis, yeah.
Yeah, Dominus Aegis. I'll be taking all 3 of those relics, and then I'll be taking double Warlord trade on the Watchmaster, starting with probably 8 CP or 9 CP. It's not too bad. I think that's the list will function really well. It won't kill a ton, but it will be able to play the whole. I can easily see it playing 5 turns.
Yeah, and look, I mean, you've leaned really towards the power of it, which is the OBSEC core, right? Like the OBSEC and core. Those kill teams are just so tough. The addition of the Redemptors, I think, is going to be sick because it gets so hard to kill. Like neg 1 damage, 5-up invo. Like on top of that, they're getting even if you want to put like a techie in there to just sit there healing them, it's not too bad. Because I'm actually going towards a similar build to you. I've got my double Warlord trait Watchmaster with the tome. I've got a Libby with the defensive powers with the one that gives you +1 to hit, 5-up Overwatch and fight first, as well as a 5-up Feel No Pain power. And then I'm either looking at a Chaplain on a bike or a Captain on a bike with a beacon, just to shoot up. I'm looking at either 1 to 2 Fortis teams with 5 Intercessors, 5 Outriders, and then 2 backfield Indomina teams with 5 Heavy Intercessors, 1 Inceptor, and 4 Eradicators, because they're just gold. And I'll either probably run a small Proteus team with Storm Shields or a small Spectrus team with 5 Infiltrators. So that's probably my core. And for support characters, I'll have a Super Apothecary with Selfless Healer, and a Company Champion. Not sure if I'll upgrade him to Chapter Champion, just because of points, with the Dominus Aegis, because he can get it on his Combat Shield. Tossing up whether I put reroll 1s against heavy support on both of the Indomina teams, because that's a lot of points. It's like 70 points. So you get to this like pointy end, don't you, where you just look like, is it just better to have more bodies?
Yeah, so I'm kind of, I definitely it's gonna be like a lot of trials with this list, because they're gonna play. I can really see them functioning well against some other armies, and then others they're just gonna fall over. But it's gonna be interesting, the mirror match, the Space Marine matchups, because Space Marines right now, I think with Eradicators, everyone's just running a million Eradicators. We've got the advantage with Outriders. Having units of 5 being obsec, there's going to be some, like this army can really move, because it's got the beacon to just throw a unit up the table. You can put another unit in deep strike. Like before you know it, you could have 2 units up the table, 3 units with a bike squad, and then you've got this other, defensive Death Star sitting in the backfield just shooting all game.
Man.
It's got some matchups are really going to struggle against this, and then some will probably just walk straight over the top of it.
Yeah, it leans into another heavy, like infantry heavy, feel no pain, rezzing, like invulnerable save build, like that Custodes, that Dark Angels type build. But the key thing I feel with Deathwatch, number 1, you can actually protect your damage, because a lot of armies are running around with tough units that do no damage, and then squishy units that do a lot of damage. With the Deathwatch, the cool thing is you have access to, protecting your Eradicators, for example. You also have access to doing actions and still shooting, which I think is ridiculous. Like, wow, it's so
for an
good.
army that's very heavy infantry based. Being able to do actions is so cool. It also opens up your avenues more now to more secondaries. And this army,
And man, you know what? A lot of Marine armies, a lot of armies don't have at the moment. It's reroll wounds, and Deathwatch have reroll 1 to wound on whatever you want. And you have the ability to get reroll all wounds, either in the kill team upgrades when you go that specific battlefield roll, or in the relic with the tome. Like, you have access to it in droves, and that's something I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, So I think this Codex. I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna say it's got some good stuff
All
in
right,
it.
so let's
Um,
do the Adam Camilleri rating from Art of War Down Under, mate, because I really like his rating system. Um,
out of 10.
what did you think this did for Deathwatch out of 10?
Oh, for Deathwatch. Oh, it's made the army good. I reckon it's definitely put it up there with like an 8.
Yeah, I reckon it's like
7 or
a
8.
9, maybe even a 10 for Deathwatch. Because think
Yeah.
about where Deathwatch was at the start of ninth. Like, it's unplayable. As Martino said,
Oh
a
yeah,
dumpster
yeah,
fire. Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
If
where do you
yeah,
think?
sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're talking what it did for Deathwatch, yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
yeah.
It's made Deathwatch playable.
Now, on the ranking from S tier and then A, B, C, D, E, where is Deathwatch now in the meta?
I can't. I'm almost gonna say I can't see it being S tier, but I reckon a good pilot will definitely push it into S tier. Yeah, so I'd say A, between A and S.
Yeah, I think it's depending on the player, like a high B to an A.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure,
Um,
man. I reckon
I
it's
think
on the level or higher than Custodes.
seriously, I think we're just gonna see. We could definitely see some broken shit come out of this. Like
Yeah,
these kill teams having access to stuff like
because
eradicators that can be hidden
the
behind 10
Marine book,
bodies.
the Marine book is S tier, right?
Yeah.
And this adds another layer of ridiculous on the Marine book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
adds
then
another
you've got,
layer of just stupid on it. So yeah, I
like
think
you
it could be
literally
awesome.
have units that can pick who they want to be for a turn,
Mm.
and then you also have units that like a strength of Space Marines is able to fall back and charge, and fall back and shoot. Um, to be able to do that, that's huge. Like you're going back to 8th edition where fly like units become fly again.
Yeah,
Um,
so good.
you know, as we were talking earlier, you can spend 3 CP and make 2 units that are in combat fall back and charge, fall back and shoot, and make one of them fall back and charge. You know, like it's so cool.
Yeah, man.
You can make one Ultramarines, you can give them the other one Disruptive Launch, and then Relentless Assault. You're
Mm.
spending like 4 CP, and you can literally turn the tide of a game by just murdering shit so fast.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's going to come to the stage where I'm going to try testing everything, and then I'm going to realize I don't need all my relics or all the traits. I'm going to trim
Yep.
that, and then I'm going to realize I don't need all my stratagems. And I'm going to find this like nice balance after playing heaps of games. I think it's going to take that balance to sift out the like unnecessary like all the trimmings, if that makes sense, and then figure out what's actually like the strongest thing in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if anyone has Eradicators for sale, please message
Oh,
me.
message me and Jordan, mate.
Um,
We will offer a good price for you.
Yes, and if you have any heavy info intercessors that aren't released yet, yeah, give me a message because I need some of those too. I'm
Oh,
getting pretty desperate, and I started putting Deathwatch shoulder pads on some Blood Angels
oh man.
because I'm
Well,
about to paint them black. So,
yeah, dude. So as you can tell, we're pretty excited
yeah,
for.
I'm quickly changing my models around.
So yeah, as you can
Yeah,
tell, we're both pretty excited for
yeah,
this
the
book, and
content to this book is really good.
yeah, and we're keen to play test it and see how it
It's
goes.
good.
So I'm keen to run it in future events. I guess on the calendar coming up, we've got Queensland Masters in a few weeks. We've got a Queensland team tournament run by Gladiator Gaming and Josh McGowan. And we've got obviously the big Adelaide tournament, Uprising Adelaide, on Australia Day in 2021. So I'm keen to see how Deathwatch performs. But Jordan, mate, thank you so much for coming on this this wild ride through the
Mate, you don't have to
through the
thank
galaxy.
me.
Yeah.
I fucking love this.
Yeah, mate. Oh, I'm so excited. And
Yep.
look, for everyone who made it to the end of the episode, thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to us on iTunes, give us a like on Facebook, leave a review. It makes it helps new listeners find us. And for anyone who wants to support, we have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/thenormalblokes. And big shout out to some of our new patrons, Brent back on the Patreon and Gavin. So thanks, guys. Yeah, hope you take it easy, stay safe around the world, and hunt those Xenos one gaunt at a time, boys.
All right. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, sirs. Have a good night.